Hello and welcome to the Total Clarity Podcast. I'm Mike Varlet.
And I'm Jessie Hyatt.
And we are in week 31 of our marathon year-long trek around New York City.
We are, and this week we were in the Greenwood Cemetery. The Greenwood Cemetery is in Brooklyn. It's in the neighborhood, I think it is technically Greenwood, but it's sort of between Park Slope and Sunset Park. And it's just such a beautiful place. It's fairly well known, so maybe some people have been there, or maybe you've at least heard of it. If not, no problem. You can continue watching and you'll see it. And the way that we did it this week is we walked a big loop that was about 20 miles, and we saved ourselves the last 6.2 or so to wander around the cemetery each day. So we were able to see different paths in different areas and sort of take our time and inspect all the intricacies of this cemetery, which has been really exciting.
That's right. And we have a pair of great guests on today. It's the first time we've had two guests on at the same time. And not only are they very entertaining and informative guests, they are also the first guests we've ever had on to be doing a walking project.
Yeah, so JP, full name Jessica Polaniecki, and Patrick Weaver were so great to join us. And what they're doing is walking every single path of Greenwood Cemetery. And in fact, they've walked it already.
That's right, done, not just doing.
But they still go and they continue to walk over the paths. And you'll see in what is to follow, they have a map that they outlined in different colors, the different walks, the different sections of the map that they did. And yeah, it was really fun to stroll with them, and they were able to tell us a number of different stories and show us some of their favorite areas. And I really hope that everyone enjoys walking along with us today.
Yeah, totally. And one more note before we get right into the footage. Want to welcome everybody that came over from Action Kid's channel when we did the video with him. It was a lot of fun doing it with him, and we hope you're liking our content. We definitely enjoy interacting with all y'all and, learning about what you like and hopefully providing you guys a great experience.
Yeah, and also thanks to Action Kid for having us on his channel. It was a really fun walk that we did with him along some of the old Battle of Brooklyn sites. So if anyone hasn't seen that, we can also put a link to that so people can check it out. And just one more thing, also a welcome to anyone that found us through the Brooklyn Eagle write-up that came out this week. I know a number of people have reached out saying that you saw us through that, and yeah, welcome. I hope you enjoy this. Maybe it's the first video you're watching.
Yeah, lots of exciting stuff going on in Highley Varlet land, and we're excited to have y'all with us. And I guess without further ado, let's jump into the Greenwood Cemetery content.
Okay, cool.
We're kind of going in a roundabout way.
Okay.
So I wanted to come up here because for like 3 months, I feel like we came in this entrance over there and it was like, should we go left or right? Because it seemed like those were the options, left or right. And then one day we came up here and we were like, oh, this is kind of a path, even though it's not on the map. So then we had a third option.
Right.
And that was fun.
Yeah. Did it feel like cheating or something to go off the paved path?
I feel like at first I was like, are we supposed to be doing this?
But we had been off of the paths all over the place, just not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was sort of in our head.
I feel like for some people who are coming here for the first time, or at least something I noticed with people who seem to be visiting for the first time, they think they can't go on the grass.
Yeah.
But like, how do all these people visit their relatives without going on the grass? So
Right.
like, of course you can go on the grass.
Right. It's interesting. We did a walk I guess a month and a half or 2 months ago now, and it was through a bunch of cemeteries in Queens, and I had a very similar feeling of like when we'd want to cut across, being like, "Ooh, is this okay? Is this disrespectful?" But I think it's fine. It's like bringing some energy, and yeah, like you said, how are you supposed to get to the gravesite without walking to the gravesite?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm no cemetery expert yet, but it is, from what we've been reading a little bit, it is interesting that there was this period of time where cemeteries were treated with some slight suspicion maybe from people, insofar as they wanted to be buried by their church, you know, and like the idea of this like distinct district of being buried. There was a period of time where that wasn't yet in vogue, and then there was a period of time where it was very much in vogue, and people would go and visit, and now we're in this other phase where people feel it's hollowed or they don't know what to do. But this was always meant as a, you know, or there was a period of time where it was meant as leisure, you know.
Yeah, before Prospect Park opened, this was the main green space in Brooklyn. So people would come hang out here. It was like a social place to come.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't have relatives to visit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go through all my facts in the first 2 minutes, but I think it's in 1860, this was the most popular tourist attraction in New York State. Like something like 500,000 people a year would come here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they sent an email recently with like the clicker count of how many people had come through in 2020, and it was like 500,000 or something.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
And at least half of one of those million is just us.
That's right. Well, let's start walking.
All
I
right.
want to ask you about, how was it that you guys came up with the idea of doing your project, basically?
Well, when we were apartment hunting, we were looking at a few different neighborhoods. We were pretty open to where we would live. And I'd say that when we looked at our apartment here, which is just 3 blocks from this entrance on 20th Street and Prospect Park West, this was like the main selling point, at least for me. I'd say for both of us, having access to like a big green space, both Prospect Park and the cemetery, was a huge plus. And so when we started coming in, it's kind of hard to not accidentally repeat your steps a lot.
Right.
And just realizing how many interesting things there were to look at, like literally every couple of feet there's something interesting. And, you know, we wanted to see it all.
Yeah.
And so to avoid, you know, accidentally walking on the same paths over and over again but missing something else, we got one of the paper maps that they give out. Actually, did you guys get one of those?
No,
Not
we
yet,
should
no.
though.
Should we
at
go
least
back
on
and
the
get
way.
one?
If it makes sense. All right, well, let's just go with whatever you
Okay.
feel
You
out.
should
We
get
can
one when
up
you
the-
leave,
get
and
one
then
on the
the
way
other
out.
days
Okay.
you'll have
We
it.
have a whole week
This is
worth of
ours.
grabbing it, too.
Oh,
We
you
brought
brought
ours
yours?
with
Oh,
us.
good.
That's pretty
Okay.
worn
nice.
out.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so we started highlighting our routes at the end of each walk.
Oh, cool.
So to ensure that we covered everything and didn't
Wow.
miss anything.
I like your choice of highlighter
Yeah,
color
me
as
too.
well.
I'm actually really fond of these neon colored pencils that were kind of perfect for
Oh,
it.
is that what they are? Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Is there any color coding involved
There
here?
is not, no.
Okay.
I wish that we had thought to do that.
It's sort of like we did yellow first,
Okay.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then we did, I think, like green, and then purple, and I think the orange was the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so now you have, it looks like every path is covered. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
true?
We've done the
Yeah.
whole thing, yeah.
Amazing.
I think we finished in May. We thought it would take us like all of 2020, but then the pandemic happened and we were coming every day. And like a Saturday we could spend like hours here, so that really accelerated the process.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, this gate was only open on the weekends.
Right.
So we
Oh,
would come
really?
like maybe once every 2 weeks.
Okay, because then your other option would be to walk all the way around to where
To
on like
Fifth
25th
Avenue,
Street or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I guess isn't that far, but also not as convenient as
Yeah.
being right around the corner.
Oh, watch out, there's some goose poop.
Oh, thanks.
Actually a lot of it.
That's a callback to another podcast episode we did that Jesse just mentioned about cemeteries.
Uh-huh.
We had this forensic genealogist, Mark, come on. He was a great guest. He showed us around Old Calvary Cemetery. And he said that one time he was out there when there was a lot of snow, and he ended up stepping in a mountain of goose poop. Because apparently he theorized that when there's snow, the geese huddle together for warmth.
Oh.
And they were just pooping in one spot.
So back to your walks around Greenwood. Did you document it in any way, or was it more of like a leisure activity for yourselves, or?
Well, the map was the main document.
Oh, of course, we just
and then
saw it.
Right, and then sort of within that, we started another project where we were noticing a lot of names on graves that were words.
Okay.
So we started photographing graves that were words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we'll notice one any minute now. And at some point, with the goal of putting them together as poems.
Cool.
Oh.
And so I did a few of those on Instagram.
I saw a couple of those, yeah.
Which was kind of fun. And I started a Google sheet where I was tracking all my, I call them green words.
Oh, amazing.
And maybe I'll get back to that at some point.
There's Rich.
Yeah. But the project started to feel a little bit inappropriate with all the death happening. So I started to feel a little bit weird about it.
Uncomfortable about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I could see that. It's definitely very, as opposed to being like an abstract concept,
Yeah.
it kind of has become a lot more real over
Yeah.
the last year.
I kind of forgot about this now, but when we first started coming here because of the stay-at-home orders, it was a weird thing to be doing when the main thing on everyone's mind was death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be spending all our time here felt really strange and maybe too symbolic if you overthought it. So
Yeah.
I very much tried to not think about it. Oh, we should look at this.
Yeah. What's going on here? Have you done any Googling on this
Well,
one?
there's a very informative placard.
Oh, nice.
But I feel
That'll
like
do.
you know more than you know as much as the placard at this point.
I feel like I'm gonna butcher it. Why don't you do it?
So this is a statue called Civic Virtue, which used to be in front of City Hall.
Oh.
And then I feel like maybe around the beginning of the 20th century, people were like, why do we have this statue of a guy kind of like stomping on some ladies in front of City Hall? And so they put it in front of Queensborough Hall instead.
Okay.
And then even Queens was kind of like, why is this here? And so they put it here, and now it's here.
And do you know who this guy is?
No.
It looks like it's made by a Brooklyn sculptor.
Influenced by the second wave of feminism, a succession of Queensborough presidents and other politicians argued that the statue was sexist. Civic virtue fell into despair. That's a really great sentence.
That's funny, yeah. Was moved to Greenwood and enabled the artwork to be conserved and paradoxically brought back to life.
That's something we've encountered a few times, and we will probably encounter more before the end of the year, is this kind of interesting transit history of many of these statues where they get installed in one place and then for whatever reason, either because they're not appropriate anymore or because the area around it has grown and changed, it gets moved to another spot, and depending on how important it is, it either gets well preserved or not well preserved, you know? Like there's a couple of statues in front of the Brooklyn Museum that were what used to be in front of the Manhattan Bridge. And yeah, it's just wild to think about how, you know, we as humans like feel this need to continually maintain this sort of stuff, or not, depending on how controversial it is.
Something that's unique about this cemetery, I think, is how many works of sculpture that are just art are here. I think that's the only one I'm aware of that is like a relocation situation. But like we'll see on Battle Hill and the other one that you mentioned, what was the artist's name?
The Sophie Calle.
Yeah, I didn't know how to say it, so I made you say it. I'm sorry.
It might be Calle. But
Okay.
I think it's Calle.
And I think it's Sophie, not Sophia.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're sorry.
Sorry, Sophie.
And there are a couple others that are purely for art's sake scattered around the cemetery, which I imagine isn't very common to cemeteries in general. But
Yeah,
I could totally be wrong.
I wouldn't think so on first thought, but I do feel like there is this like age-old connection between religion and art, and cemeteries have obviously a connection to religion, or at least the thought of like spirituality or afterlife.
This is one of the big trees that came down, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. This was a huge, huge tree.
Oh, really?
Huh.
There was a
Kind of the bare spot right there behind the
Where that
archway.
ground is kind of dug up a little?
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
What was it, during a storm?
Yeah, I
When
can't
are the
even remember when
storms?
that was
in the
anymore.
Fall.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess so.
Oh, there was that massive storm that like took down trees all over
Yeah.
in Queens and stuff too.
I
Maybe
can't
it
remember
was
how
that.
many, but the cemetery lost a lot of trees. It was kind of funny
Wow.
to come here, I mean not funny, but come here after that happened and be like, all the trees were down, you could see them. And it was like, so sad, we lost all these trees. And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm surrounded by dead people. And I'm standing here being really sad about a tree, but it's very sad still.
Yeah, well, it's also like the tree is the signifier of like new life that's sprouting out from the people that have died, and like
Yeah.
it's almost like it's their tree and it's like
Yeah.
their way of like still being around.
Yeah.
So it does kind of, it's a fresh death
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Our friend Eliza came on an event here a long time ago, or a few years ago, that was apple cider making.
Oh, fun.
Because I guess there are apple trees here, though I don't feel like we've ever seen them.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And she pointed out how interesting it was to be consuming apples that are sort of fertilized with the soil that is full of human remains.
Yeah,
It's pretty strange.
the full circle of life.
Yeah. There are some, not beehives. What do you call them? The boxes?
Oh, the boxes?
Yeah.
I don't know what those are called. Honey boxes?
Bee colony?
Bee colonies?
Bee colonies?
There's a few of them in the cemetery. And they have a resident beekeeper,
Oh, cool.
and they make honey. And I think you can sign up for like a membership to annually get the honey that's produced here.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
It does seem like this cemetery really is involved in community building.
Yeah. This year they started an artist in residency program.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think the person started the residency just a few months ago.
Do you know who it is? Or what
I
they're-
read about her and she sounds really cool, but I can't remember her name.
Okay.
But there was an article in the New York Times about her.
What a nice place to do a residency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how interesting it is to have art in cemeteries too, and in some ways, like, all of these gravestones are
Yeah.
sculptures as well.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of repeated imagery, some of which is the meaning is obvious and others aren't so obvious.
What's something that's not quite so obvious?
Well,
Can
we
you think
just passed
offhand?
this one. Do you want to take a step back?
Yeah.
Sure.
And maybe to anyone with like a Christian background, this is obvious, but this like checkerboard floor I've seen a lot.
Wow. It almost looks like vaporwave
Yeah.
style. Like,
Yeah.
That's
do you know
interesting.
what that checkerboards mean?
I don't know what the checkerboards mean. I do wonder if they're just gravestone master makers that put out patterns, and then people are like, I like that. I saw my aunt had that, and then it just becomes popularized. I don't know. I mean, it could also very easily have significance. I'm not sure.
Yeah, looking at it now, it seems like maybe that's supposed to be the gates of heaven.
Oh.
And maybe the checkerboard kind of helps with the like perspective of like that's in the distance.
Oh yeah,
and
good
it's
point.
like go down this like cobblestone path or something.
And there you'll find the cross.
Yeah, that might be. I like the way it looks, just as like an aesthetic thing too, with the graphic sort of blockiness and then the flowers.
Yeah, the flowers, it's interesting, the geometric pattern together with the flowers.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Do they have in a lot of the graveyards in Queens we saw, there are those high fidelity laser engraved faces?
Oh yeah.
Do they have those here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you'll see a grave from like 1879, and then 2 feet away you'll see a grave from 2016.
Right.
Oh wow.
And they don't really separate them out all that much.
Oh my gosh. I wonder how the plots are decided.
I'm sure there's a system, but it really seems like there is not.
There's 2 maps.
Uh-huh.
When you go to map at one of the gates, this map is the like visitors map.
Uh-huh.
And there's another map for people who are looking to bury people, and it shows you the areas where you can bury people now.
Oh, interesting. I would be interested in seeing that.
You should get one of each of them.
Yeah.
This is not the highest point, but I kind of think that it is.
Okay.
Because the highest point is over there, and it seems like we're higher than that.
Where that tall sort of obelisk structure is?
A little bit to the left.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
We do seem high.
I'm no heightologist.
But I feel like this was a place that I like to come a lot in like the late summer, because I had left my job and it was kind of like, I wonder if I'll ever go over there again.
To the city. Yeah.
And can we see your office building?
I feel like we've figured it out, but it's been so long that I don't even remember what my building looks like.
So the one, you can see One World Trade Center,
Yeah.
and then there's like a green roof that's
Right.
below that. I believe that that's the Woolworth building.
Oh, right. And I'm right
Okay.
across from the Woolworth building.
Yeah.
So I might be that kind of nondescript tall one, or maybe
One
I'm
that's
right
a
next
little
to it.
Yeah.
And
One of the, I don't remember which direction from the Woolworth building you are. I think you're up. I think you're the one
I
to
think
the
I'm
right of the
south.
Woolworth. Oh, okay,
I'm
maybe.
just south of it.
so that tall one, like to the left, maybe.
Yeah.
Although I think my office window looks into that building. So I think I'm a smaller building next to that one that we maybe either can't see or can barely see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This was also
That's
really
fun.
eerie at the beginning of the pandemic, just like seeing Manhattan.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't been to Manhattan.
I went once.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Really, yeah.
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 Just that they're all empty.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It is bizarre. And it's strange how, like, it feels also kind of very far away,
Uh-huh.
but it's also so close.
Yeah, like we used to hop over there
Yeah.
in a half hour.
And it used
every
to be
day.
like the main reason for living
Yeah.
anywhere in this area, right? And
Yeah.
now it's like this is probably
Yeah.
the main reason.
Yeah.
You can also see the BQE over here,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
always just a funny, like, wow, look at all those cars. And then the Statue of Liberty over here.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, this is a really great view. This, I guess, so since we were last week walking the Battle of Brooklyn route, I guess there was a battle that happened up here too.
Oh, yeah.
And it
That's
was-
right. On the 27th of August, 1776, the forces lined up here. General Sterling's forces, I believe. There were 12 No, maybe it was Grant, actually. I'm not sure. Yeah, refer to last week's video for the explicit details. But anyway,
I think there's a placard, so we can double check.
Yeah, they formed a line down like 20th and 23rd Streets that went all the way to the water, and this area was actually all kind of like a feint. The British were attacking here, but they really weren't. They were sending 16,000 troops around and basically getting ready to crush them. But yeah. This was known as Wyckoff Hill previously, and then once the battle happened, it became known as Battle Hill henceforth.
But it's interesting to me to think like a few of the other places where we visited last week that were high up, like sort of situated to see well during the battle, the view is so obscured now because of all the buildings, and this is still a great view. Like, I could imagine if there was a British ship out there shooting cannonballs at us, like, we'd actually be able to see it still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be pretty epic. They had, the ships that they had out there, the colonists it was like all of London was floating out in the water.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Crazy.
But anyway, there's a statue of Minerva over there somewhere.
Yeah.
I heard she's in a staring contest with the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not sure. That's what I heard.
Who is Minerva?
It's the goddess of wisdom, I believe.
God?
I think Roman, not
Okay.
Greek.
Have either of you come to any of the events that have happened here?
Yeah.
I guess probably, maybe there's been, I don't know if they've even done things during COVID, but.
Yeah. Well, actually, the first time I ever came here was in probably like 2008 or 9. They used to do a annual performance here called Angels and Accordions.
Okay.
That was modern dancers dressed in like drapey white outfits, so kind of angel-like, and accordion players.
Wow.
And you would just sort of walk around the cemetery listening for music and finding, let's look at that one, it's really nice. Patrick. Listening and finding these mini performances where you'd come across like a cluster of like 3 or 4 modern dancers, like on top of graves, like all over the place, and accordion players.
That sounds really magical.
Yeah, and they stopped doing it, I think because it got too crowded.
Oh, wow.
But it was a free event and it was amazing. I don't know
That's so
anything about
cool.
this, but it's gorgeous.
Wow, this is so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, we're near Leonard Bernstein, aren't we?
Yeah.
Spencer Trask? Spencer Trask.
And then over the summer, we came to a chamber music performance here. It was, I think, the Harlem Chamber. What's the name? Harlem Chamber Group?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Wow.
That was the only live music we've seen.
Was it all outdoors somewhere?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was on a hill. It was really nice. They set up like markings so that people would sit 6 feet apart.
Right.
And that was really
sounds
nice.
so nice.
And last summer we saw an art exhibit of paintings and sculptures inside one of the catacombs.
Oh, wow.
It was really nice. And it was only lit naturally through like the little windows in the ceiling. So it was like really dark. But then like in these little pockets of light, they'd put a painting.
That sounds so nice.
Yeah, and the paintings were made with, they were very realistic, and they used gold leaf, so they were really reflective.
Wow.
It was pretty nice.
So here we got Leonard Bernstein.
Bernstein or Bernstein?
I don't know.
I'm thinking of the REM song.
Oh,
I think
And
he
he
says
says
Bernstein in the
but
REM song.
but
What does he know?
But the Bernstein Bears
Yeah.
is what I thought.
Yeah.
It could go either way. I don't think I know who that is.
He's a composer
Okay.
For the first few months that we were coming here, every time we'd walk by it, in my head, I was thinking Leonard Cohen. And at some point I was like, oh wait, wrong Leonard. Both Jews in music.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know much else other than he was a composer. Do either of you guys?
He's famous for musicals. I'm blanking on which ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people on the internet that are yelling at us right now. He is very famous for musicals. That's my recollection.
We'll have to Google it and then we'll let people
Please forgive
know.
us, internet,
Yeah.
or
you
inform
can
us.
let us know.
Wait, I want to see this statue before we go this way. I think this is...
Oh, there's Minerva.
Oh,
Yeah.
there she is. It does look like maybe she's waving to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the intention.
Wow.
And I think she is also made of, is it copper?
I think so.
Or
Because
is
it
it
turns
bronze?
green.
Yeah. So you can see it's kind of green underneath.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think I read that they painted it black
Oh.
because the
yeah.
green, even though it now feels so like classic New York, like the Statue of Liberty, it's not what's supposed to happen. So it's kind of like in a state of disrepair if it turns green. So painting it black was a way to like hide that they weren't like properly upkeeping the
Right.
statue.
That's
But
funny.
it feels
But it's
obvious
still
now
just
that it would be so
chipping
much
off a
nicer.
little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like your walls at home get dirty, so instead of like cleaning them, you just like wallpaper over
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's like a protective element to the paint.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah.
But I guess the Statue of Liberty seems to be doing fine, and she's
okay.
she's green.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I thought that was just the natural part of it. I didn't realize that meant that that you weren't keeping up with it.
I think so. I think you could polish it
Oh.
and get it back to.
Oh yeah, because I guess you're
original
like
color.
allowing it to oxidize or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. At my aunt's house when I was little, she had this box of crayons that was like an ancient box of Crayola crayons from when her kids were little.
Uh-huh.
So it was probably from like the 70s. And there was a copper-colored crayon that would oxidize and get this film of green on the outside.
Whoa.
And I thought about this for years. I would like ask my cousins, do you remember? Like they must have put real copper in that crayon. And like 2 years ago, I was at her house and I found the crayon and I took it because no one is using it.
Yeah. Do you still have it?
I do, yeah.
Nice.
I can send you a photo later. Yeah.
I'd love to see.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
guess they must have put real copper in it.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's some dyes that I use. I get a specific type that is like low toxicity, like low chemical, low toxicity. And there's just one color that they can't do that way, that they have to put heavy metal in, and it's turquoise.
Oh, interesting.
And I think there is some, I don't remember, I want to say there is some copper in there,
Uh-huh.
which is like weird because it goes into water, and I wonder if part of that is what makes it that green color.
Yeah, that
you
sounds
know?
like it might be the case. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Should we keep walking?
There's a grave over there that says Onderdonk on it,
Yeah.
which is the name of a street near our old house.
Mhm.
And there are so many graves where it's just like, oh, that's a street, or that's a subway stop.
Right.
But the grave isn't anything special.
No.
But I'm just constantly wondering, like, oh, is that the Skirmahorn of Hoyt Skirmahorn?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed that the more we've been walking around and learning history and all this, I'm also noticing like words that, like street names especially, that I'm just like, I don't know what that is. It, like, it shows up and I'm like, oh, maybe
Yeah.
that person is why.
Yeah.
I do think that there was an Onderdonk involved in the Revolutionary War in some capacity.
Should we go look at this, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm trying
yeah.
to find the highest point thing. I don't know where it is though. It's
I
somewhere
think
over
there's something
here.
over here you want to
Okay,
look
we
at.
can
Okay.
circle that.
We'll be back.
But I don't see it.
This looks new, right?
Oh yeah.
I've
Oh
never
wow!
noticed this.
Oh, and there's dog
4 dog
prints.
paws.
Yeah.
Interesting.
A fun fact about the cemetery
Yeah.
is that early in its operating as a cemetery, they did allow for the burial of pets.
Oh.
But very quickly there was like an uproar from the Catholics or Christians that were like, you can't have animals buried where we're burying our beloved people.
Huh.
And so they stopped. But there are 3 or 4 dogs that I marked on the map that we gave you.
Oh.
Because when you find them, there's a statue of a dog, you know it's there.
Oh, wow.
But we learned,
so nice.
yeah, we learned this fun fact at a Rooftop Film Festival screening we came to here last summer of the Errol Morris film Gates of Heaven, which is about the conception of pet cemeteries in America.
Oh, wow.
So it was like the perfect fun fact for the event.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so interesting.
Yeah. But I'm really curious about that. Like maybe this is a dog
Maybe there's
lover.
I think it's a dog lover because I think these dates are all like
Too
these
long.
people all live way longer than
Yeah, than your average dog.
your average dog. This is also interesting to me that this one has no death date, David Ferguson, which makes me think that he is probably still alive and just like got a
Yeah.
head start
Yeah.
on the
Yeah, that's not uncommon
inscription.
from what we've observed when we've been in cemeteries previously. People reserving, like when I was talking about that high fidelity laser engraving, they'll have like both husband and wife, but one of them's not dead yet, and they'll just
Yeah.
have it like covered with paper or something for
Yeah.
like when the eventual day comes.
We've seen
This is
that a few
practical.
times where the birth date of the spouse or child is so long ago that they're definitely not alive anymore,
Yeah.
but there's
Oh.
no death date. And so I assume like maybe they married someone or
Yeah.
moved somewhere really
wow.
far away or who knows,
and
but
got buried
they,
somewhere
yeah,
else.
they didn't end up
but-
here, yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, this design is really interesting because I feel like I haven't seen anything like this here.
The
Yeah.
only thing that I've seen like this is the Tiffany grave is kind of like this.
I guess,
Oh.
but it's not quite as modern.
No, this one's more matte
Yeah.
and has more
Yeah.
rounded corners.
This
Also,
feels like
these
if you
square
were to
benches.
Yeah,
Like-
Yeah, this feels like an
These
IKEA
blocks.
set.
it does.
Yeah.
So this has to be a Revolutionary War monument, or maybe it's a Civil War monument actually.
Oh, look, these are the same people,
Oh,
or the same names at least. The same last name.
oh yeah. Oh, I guess it's like because the last name is on this side too. I guess maybe they have this whole area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
In the spring and summer, this like whole circle
Uh-huh.
is really lush
Oh,
with
wow.
plants, and they attract a ton of caterpillars and butterflies and moths
Oh, cool.
and bumblebees.
yeah.
And dragonflies too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
It is.
Bringing more life too.
Yeah. The cemetery is really active in their environmental work, and there are a lot of research projects going on here. There's some project where they're testing out like how much can they let the grass grow without mowing it.
Oh.
And so there are areas where you'll see like really high grass and a sign that says like, why is the grass so tall here?
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I really appreciate how like open and accessible and sort of forward thinking, if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah,
the
I think
cemetery
so.
is.
Yeah. There's at least one kind of tree in the cemetery that's completely extinct outside of the cemetery.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you
Here-
remember what it is or
I
where
don't.
it is?
Do you?
It's one of these that's listed in the map, but I don't remember.
Like completely extinct in the whole world?
One of the celebrated
At
trees.
least America.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Extinct in the wild since the early 1800s, specimens grown today are descendants of seeds that were collected by John Bartram and his son William in 1765 Georgia. He named the species after his father's friend Benjamin Franklin.
Oh my gosh.
So
What
it's
was it called, the tree?
oh, I never read that.
Oh.
It's called the Franklin tree.
Oh, the Franklin tree.
It's number 18 on here, so wherever that is.
And the map has a list of notable trees, which is really great.
Which also is probably like when that big tree fell, that makes it even
It's
more
over
sad
here.
because it
Yeah.
is something that like is clearly appreciated.
Yeah.
That's where the Franklin tree is?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we'll make it there.
I hope it's still
We'll
up.
see.
I don't think we visited it since the storm, or not consciously at least.
So just to clarify, this is in fact a Civil War monument, not a Revolutionary War
Oh,
monument.
okay.
And I believe it may well be the same statues done by the ones that we saw at Old Calvary too.
It
Looks
looks
very
a
familiar.
lot like that
Which
that statue.
that area in Old Calvary Cemetery, it's the only public park inside of a cemetery in New York City apparently.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's actually a little bit smaller than this. It's a very tiny
Yeah.
thing.
Wow.
But
It's
yeah.
interesting, actually, to kind of. Have you ever been out to Old Calvary Cemetery?
No.
I'd be curious to hear what you think at some point if you do make it out there. It's similar in a way where it has like really, really beautiful old monuments and big graves, and it's a really old cemetery, and it's huge. Not as big as Greenwood, I don't believe, but it's also so different in the way, like what we were just talking about, how Greenwood seems so engaged and involved. Old Calvary is sort of just there. Like it's
Where is it?
it's over near the Kosciuszko Bridge, or Kosciuszko, I never know how to say that. So yeah, out like almost to Sunnyside.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a
Cool.
trip.
Yeah, I saw your photos and I was like, okay, that we have to visit that at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it feels like it's like related to Greenwood in a way,
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
but I don't think officially, but it feels like it has a similar vibe.
I think after this whole experience that we've had, like forever, when we go visit another like country or city, I'm gonna seek out interesting cemeteries.
Yeah. It seems to, in a way, it tells you a lot about what's happening in
Yeah.
the area, right? Oh,
Feel
wow.
free to suggest any direction that you want to walk in.
I kind of want to see that
Pyramid.
I want to go to
pyramid.
Egypt.
Yeah, let's do it. We were here a while ago with a friend, and she was like, wow, I'm so glad to know that in this modern age you could still get buried in a pyramid.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to see. Do you know offhand who is buried here?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Oh, wonderful. We're going to learn together.
Or we might not.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. 'Cause sometimes we'll find an interesting grave and try to research about it and can't find anything.
Huh. Well, I guess this cemetery, there are a lot of well-known people, right?
A lot of what people?
Well-known people.
Yeah, yeah.
But then there's also just people that had money at some point
Yeah.
and got lucky enough
Yeah.
to be buried here.
I get the sense that here there's a lot of people who were maybe well known at the time
Yeah.
Oh,
when
okay.
they were alive but are not anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
not-
kind of wish someone would produce, I mean, maybe we should be doing this, like a secondary map of like, not the most important people here, according to the history books, but like really interesting
Yeah.
stories. Because you're not no one and end up with this, with this grave.
I would think that
I mean,
this
maybe
person
Parsons.
did something special.
That
Van
could-
Ness Parsons.
Could that be V. Parsons? And isn't there like a Van Ness Boulevard?
A
In
Van
San
Ness
Francisco?
does sound
Oh, okay.
familiar.
Yeah,
in San
Vanessa is
Francisco?
is a famous street in San Francisco, but it's very possible that that person's what is this person and they're just buried
Right.
here, like
Yeah.
this is their child or
Yeah.
parent or
It looks like there was some kind of crest over there that maybe came off.
Behind this Sphinx.
Yeah.
Or- yeah.
Like that was definitely something that was nailed in there. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
either it just like got it decayed and so they removed it, or maybe this person, it was discovered that they did something terrible, but like after they died and they were like, you know, we're taking down that badge
You
of
don't
honor.
deserve the sun.
I mean, it looks like it was copper. It's also possible someone just stole it and
Right.
stripped it. There's been a few
Oh.
places where we've seen like things that were copper on graves that have been stripped off.
That are just not there.
Look, there's pennies here.
Oh.
yeah. Huh.
Also copper.
Right. And
So
the
strange.
door seems to be copper too.
Wow, that's a really nice door.
Yeah.
Apparently one of the reasons that this style of burial became really popular is because, oh, here's a whole corner. People were really fearful of being buried alive. And so it was thought that if you're buried above ground, or I guess it's not buried, interred, you know, if you wake up, you could
get out.
escape.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because you're in a house instead of
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. I'd be really curious to know if there are any cases of that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the Martha Washington story, right?
I don't remember it.
I think all I know is that they like moved her body at some point, and when they opened the casket, they found scratch marks on the inside.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so
yeah.
it must not have been terribly uncommon.
It was a
to
thing that
think
happened.
people that were, yeah.
Which doesn't really make a ton of sense to me.
Right?
Like, how quickly were they like, someone falls asleep and they're like, oh, must
Get
be
him in
dead.
there.
Let's get him in there. Like,
Yeah. Like heartbeat.
Don't you wait a couple
heartbeat.
days
Yeah.
usually?
Very strange. Yeah. I mean, I guess before like embalming, it was probably a quicker process. In Judaism, they don't believe in embalming, so people get buried pretty much the next day.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's the Sabbath, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, pretty strange.
Yeah.
I'm so curious about these pennies.
Me too. Are they all heads up or?
No.
No, most of them actually aren't.
It looks like Mary and Joseph have the baby, right? And then they have the lamb. And then they had a pet sphinx that is very protective of Jesus.
Uh-huh. And that one is really close, and I kind of feel like there's some relation.
Yeah.
Loving memory of our Herbert. Huh.
Joshbed? Oh, in Hebrew that would be pronounced Yocheved.
Oh.
Interesting.
Huh. Yeah, they do seem like similar style at the.
Yeah, and like it's facing,
Yeah.
if that's not deliberate, then it's so strange to put something that ornate so close to this one.
For sure.
Maybe it was like this person's biggest fan.
Yeah.
And they,
I have no reason to think this for sure, but it almost seems like maybe a monument to a child that passed away.
oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, you know what? Doesn't that say son of Eleanor and Argyle Parsons?
It's not Herbert,
Oh, but it's
though.
not Herbert, you're right. Lieutenant William. Oh, he was missing in action during World War II? Okay, so these are both their sons that both died in the war. But then Herbert.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. I am very curious.
You're going to get more questions than answers
Yeah.
at Greenwood Cemetery.
Oh, and they're right next to the Saab.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
The car.
there's another copper thing that looks like maybe there was a piece that got stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how often that happens these days, or if most of those things were stolen before there was like overnight security kind of digital watching.
And is copper still that valuable? I don't really know.
I
Yeah,
think
have
it's
no
more
idea.
valuable than ever. So
Oh,
my guess is
Oh,
that
really?
it's somewhat recent. Like I think it's within
Oh.
the last 20 years that copper has become like worth stripping.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
But
Aren't
I might
they like
be wrong.
considering not? There's something with the penny where it's like the penny is worth more than a penny.
Oh, right. Yeah, like to make it and
Yeah.
something like that.
So we were talking about famous people being buried here,
Oh yeah.
and one of my last fact tricks in my bag is that they were having difficulty convincing people to come here to be buried. And one of the reasons that the things turned around is they managed to get the remains of DeWitt Clinton, who is at the time was considered the father of the Erie Canal. He was the mayor of New York City, and he was a senator for the state of New York. They had his remains moved here, and then it became very fashionable to be buried in this area.
I've seen that grave, and I never knew that he was moved here.
Yeah.
Here's another Halsey, another and Sumner.
Robert.
Oh, look, that one
Halsey.
has some, like, are those dogs on the outside of it facing the...
Oh, I think they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
They're like whippets or something.
Yeah. What are they called? Like Italian... There's some, like, smaller version of a whippet. That's like an Italian greyhound, maybe?
Oh, like those, is that what those little small ones are?
Yeah, where it looks like you
cute.
could just, like, grab their legs.
Yeah. Wow. I love when they're sort of in this state of falling apart, where it's like nothing's really broken, but you can tell it's been here for such a long time because
Yeah.
everything's just like the dogs probably had faces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems
would
like
think.
ears.
Yeah. But you can still tell what they are. They're just like, it's almost like an abstract version or something now.
And there's some copper wire sticking out.
Oh.
Yeah. Huh. So now that you've had a lot of time wandering around graveyards, have either of you considered how you would like your final remains to be handled, and has it changed since this experience?
I feel like jokingly walking around, I'm always like coming up with ideas, but I definitely want to be cremated. I still think this is all pretty silly.
Mm.
Yeah, it's strange because sometimes you come across like very recent graves, and it's weird that it's such a park and also that people are still buried here. It just seems so extravagant. But you know, that's what people did for a long time, so it makes sense that people still want to do it.
Yeah. The tradition of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're coming up on the main entrance, which is quite grand.
It's so beautiful.
Do you guys know about the parakeets here?
I've seen them a couple times. I hope we see some today.
We'll definitely hear them, I think, if we get closer.
Can you tell us a little bit about them? I don't know much.
Yeah, so there are these bright green parakeets. Hopefully we'll see some.
Okay.
And the reason they were brought here because they keep the pigeons away.
Oh.
And pigeon poop degrades marble.
Oh.
So they don't want pigeons pooping on all of the marble.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do you know what about the pigeon poop? Like, is
No,
there
I
some
have
kind
not
of
researched
mineral or
that.
something?
No.
Okay.
But once I read that, I realized it's really rare to see pigeons in here.
Yeah.
Except occasionally on like the very outer rims you might see them, but there really aren't many pigeons here.
How do the parakeets keep the pigeons away?
I don't know. Maybe,
They hunt them or something?
I don't know. They have a very loud shriek.
Okay. So maybe they just scare them.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and they tend to be in packs. Like if you encounter them around the cemetery, there's usually like 3 or 5 of them at least.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Oh, here's Clinton.
Oh, here he is.
Patrick really knows his way around.
I was trying to remember where the art thing we were trying to find is.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's somewhere.
It's on a hill.
here.
It's either like over there or up. Is it that?
It might be that one, yeah.
Yeah,
Seems
it's right
like
there.
It could be. I almost wonder why we don't have more of these parrots just all over the city.
Well,
like
they're-
the pigeons are such a
yeah.
nuisance.
It's true. My friend who lives on Long Island came on a walk with me here a few months ago, and we could hear the pigeons and the parakeets.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, are those parakeets? And I was like, yeah, how do you know? She's like, they're an invasive species in my neighborhood.
Oh.
Apparently they like escaped from a truck or something where they were being transported and have taken over her neighborhood, and it's really controversial.
Oh no.
Because they must keep away more than just pigeons.
Yeah.
And people in her neighborhood are quite upset about it and like dismantle their nests.
Oh no.
In hopes that they will
move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but my friend really likes them.
Yeah.
And is sad about them doing that, which I would be too. They're really pretty, but
yeah,
it's such a weird concept, the invasive species, when it's something that seems so lovely.
It's really interesting. I mean, I think about that with plants a lot too, because I know there's so much work done to keep invasive species at bay, and some of them like seem really bad and annoying, but then other plants are so beautiful, and you're like, well, why not just let that grow?
Yeah.
But I understand there's a whole ecology to keep up.
Yeah.
So this is the guy that we were talking about, this is
That's
like
right.
who started the popularity of coming here?
That's my understanding.
Interesting. And so I guess before he was moved here, it was more popular, you said, to just be buried like in your farm or in your church?
In your churchyard, kind of like Trinity Church has all the graves there. That was,
I guess when people were more spread out and not dealing with as many people dying at once, maybe?
Perhaps. I mean, I think that...
Or it was just popular.
You know, death traditions are probably some of the most conservative, ossified, whatever your traditions are, you're probably going to want whatever it is.
Right.
So it takes a long time for things to change.
Right.
One cemetery that I've always been really intrigued by in Manhattan it's on like 21st Street, maybe between 6th and 7th.
Oh.
7th and 8th. And it's tiny.
Huh.
And it appears to be a Jewish cemetery. And it's in the middle of so much hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
And it's just there, kind of falling apart.
Wow.
But it's really nice, and you can't go in, but there's a gate that you can look through.
Yeah, I don't often think of cemeteries being in Manhattan.
Is this no. Joseph Beers.
This is another great view up here, too.
Some of the graves have these perpetual care.
Oh, yeah.
Signs. I don't know that much about it, but...
We saw those also at a couple other cemeteries, and I think it basically is what it sounds like. Like, it means that someone will come and, like, tend to the gravesite forever.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, I don't really know, like, why some get that treatment and some others don't.
Yeah.
It must be money.
I think so, yeah. In the spring, we noticed that some graves got fresh, like, tulips and other flowers planted, even though they'd been dead for
a really long time.
Yeah, like, so that might have been one of the levels you could pay for, like...
Probably.
They will plant flowers there.
Yeah.
Every year.
It's kind of an interesting, like, concept, I think, to think about that... Like, yeah, if I paid for perpetual care, would they still, like, they should still be doing it in year 4,000.
Yeah.
But, like, especially if I don't have any kids or something, like, how would I know?
Yeah.
Or, like, what would hold them accountable at that point?
Yeah. And there's the art piece, which I think we both thought it was a much bigger, I think we both thought we're pointing at that.
Oh, this is?
But it's this little one, yeah.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, Mike was telling me about it on our way over here. I guess she set it up as a spot where people can write their deepest, darkest secrets, and then she comes by occasionally and burns them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a slot at the bottom of the piece. The last time we looked at it, it was like busting full with papers. It looks like now you could probably squeeze something in there.
Yeah.
Does anybody have paper?
I was just gonna ask.
I only have our map.
Oh, we can't.
Oh my
use
gosh,
that.
that's not enough.
I don't have a pen either.
Yeah.
We'll have to come back.
Yeah.
I'll just
mean,
write
we'll
a
be
note
here
on
all
my
week.
phone and put my phone in there.
Where can I text my secret to?
You can hear the parakeets.
I wonder if they're nearby. I did
Oh,
hear
well,
them.
you can see their nests at the top of the main entrance gate, although it's kind of, there's a lot of trees in the way now, but at the very top there's a huge nest. It's kind of hard to
In
tell.
the tree there?
No, past the tree. So the gate itself.
Oh, in the gate itself.
Yeah, on the very
Oh
top.
my
you can-
gosh, I
yeah.
thought that was part of the gate. Like I thought that was part of the sculpture.
No,
oh
that's
my
a
gosh.
huge nest.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
And there are a few of them there. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I hope we get to see some.
yeah.
I do hear them.
Occasionally we hear them by our house, but I never see them.
I really like the idea of this art piece, because I don't know, I didn't grow up doing confession because I wasn't Catholic, but
Oh, I didn't even think about that part of it.
that's what it reminds me of like going to confess your sins. But then I guess if you do that in the Catholic religion, like they usually tell you, okay, now say this many Hail Marys or this many Mike's not filling in for me, but whatever other prayer that you're supposed to say to like absolve yourself. And
Hail
then
Marys
this is
and Our
kind of,
Fathers usually.
Oh, an Our Father or
Yeah.
okay. But then this is really interesting because it's kind of like you're absolved. Like she's taking care of it for you. There's no like
Well, you know
guilt
what's really
involved
interesting
or,
to
like,
me? That you seem to conflate secrets with sins.
Oh, that's a yeah,
I'm sure for a lot.
That's a good point.
It might, yeah, that's really interesting.
How did you think of
I
it?
feel like the first thing I think of, I go to like my childhood and be like, I have a huge crush on this person.
Oh, wow. Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm actually really glad that we're having this conversation because I was thinking like, what's the worst thing I've ever done? Like, I'm trying to think, like, what
Like,
am
it
I
has
going
to
to
be
write down
negative.
for later in the week? But this is actually much more fun.
Well, what did you think, Patrick? Evil or good?
I don't know. I guess like both. To be honest, I haven't thought about it that much.
Yeah, secret. Or something embarrassing, maybe.
I feel like more and more people have secrets that are even from themselves. Like I feel like a lot of the times when I think about secrets that people have, they spend a lot of the time like lying to themselves about it. And so it seems hard to believe that they would really be able to like write it down and put it in this thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that. It's like, yeah.
that would be kind of amazing if somehow she had like a magical like aura in that when you get close to it, you just know in that moment and are able to write it. But yeah, that does seem to be the common secret. Yeah, the secret that you don't even know yourself.
Yeah.
When we were walking here, I was thinking about it and I thought, well, I guess when I think of a secret that would have to be burned that would go with me, it would have to be something that I wouldn't tell Jessie, because I would tell her everything else. So then I guess inherently I would think of it as something that is a problem, you know?
I feel like there are things even that maybe you forget about. Like every now and then I remember something that's like either traumatic or just weird that I've forced myself to forget about. And those are kind of secrets too.
Yeah.
Where it's not like a fact about me or a thing I did, it's like an experience or something.
Right.
Or a feeling.
Is that a successful secret or a failed secret?
I don't know.
You know?
Yeah. Well, multiple people can also share a secret. Like I think maybe one of the things that would be nice for me is if someone told me something in confidence, like that was only for me to know and no one else, it's so hard then to not repeat something like that. So this would be a really great outlet for something like that. Like if you found out something about, I don't know, your family or something, you know, and
maybe you work in politics.
Yeah, or if you work in politics and you know you can't repeat it, you just bring it here and you can still get it out.
Yeah.
Well, now we're definitely going to have to come back and put one in there.
I know.
We're going to have to think about it. Let's go down to the chapel.
Yeah, okay. How should we get down? I'm like, we're at the top of the hill. I almost feel like we're trapped up here.
I guess this way and around? Is that the...
Either one. I think we can go this way. Do
okay.
you want to go to the chapel or the gate?
I just want to get closer.
Yeah.
So chapel was made by the same firm that did Grand Central.
Oh.
And it was both were completed in the same year.
Oh, wow.
We were here in October. I mean, we were here every month, but there was an artist who did an altar for, I hope I say this correctly, Dia de los Muertos.
Okay.
Patrick,
yeah.
did I get it wrong? He always points out when I say that wrong. Patrick? Dia de los Muertos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, there was an altar in there and people could come leave like objects and light candles, and it was really beautiful.
Wow. Did you bring anything to that?
I didn't.
Or did
no,
you come and observe?
I just came and looked. I wasn't sure if we would go in, if it was going to be crowded, which it was a little bit crowded.
Yeah.
So I just peeked my head in. What I remember more than the altar actually was there was a little boy outside in a werewolf costume because it was also Halloween. And his mom was taking photos of him on the steps of the cathedral, and he kept saying, and then we're going to get more candy, right?
Right? That's cute. This must have been such a weird year for kids.
Yeah. Early in the pandemic and all summer, we would see loads of families here with their kids.
Yeah. I guess that's one good thing, like if we want to look at silver linings about this whole experience. And I feel like it's gotten people outside more and exploring like local green areas.
Yeah.
We came here once for the Into the Veil program.
I've seen it on their like email newsletter, but I've never come. No.
It was really cool. It sounded very similar to what you were talking about, the angels and accordions.
Yeah.
But it was like multiple different types of instruments.
Oh, okay.
And I'm remembering it right now because there's someone
some
performing right around here on this path really quietly. And then in the chapel, there were, I think, 14 violinists.
Wow.
And it was dimly, like candlelight, and it was just a similar experience where you would walk around and like listen for music. And that was probably one of my favorite events I've been to in New York, I think.
Yeah. I'd say the same about the angels and oh, there they are, yeah.
So many of them.
Yeah.
Wow. You'd say the same about the angels and accordions?
Yeah, it was so lovely. And I was still pretty new to living in the city. I was a student.
Yeah.
And it just felt like art was everywhere, even in a cemetery.
Yeah.
I loved that.
I think there's something to be said about that. Even if you are like new and still kind of excited to things, to be able to impress people enough that they're still thinking about it years later and still holding it up as like one of the best events.
And I found out about it because someone I knew was dancing in it. That was the only reason I found out about it.
Oh, cool.
And came, which was
See this koi truck?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
There's an amazing koi pond through there.
In the... Is it a mausoleum there, or is that like a library or something?
I think it's a mausoleum.
It is a mausoleum. Yeah, I mean, that makes more sense.
Up to you guys if you want to see that today, or you can come back another day.
Yeah.
Whichever.
Yeah, we could circle around to the koi pond. That sounds really cool.
It's so nice.
This is beautiful too. This like looks like beach grass.
Yeah.
Wow. Is this part of the chapel, or is that someone's crypt?
I think this is a crypt or a mausoleum. From the one that we went into, it was like really deep.
Yeah.
And there were like mini rooms, and each room had like walls full of, I don't know what you call them.
People.
But look, you can see some like stained glass shining through onto the wall
so
there.
Beautiful.
I think it's over here.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's another artwork over there, that sculpture.
The copper one?
I can't tell if that's what I think it is.
Let's check it out. I like these fronds too.
Yeah. I love how wild the cemetery feels in some areas.
Right. Yeah, it feels like we're really on like an exploration.
Yeah. That's one of the things that we first came to love about the cemetery, was how you could really feel like you're not in a city at all. In some areas where it gets really wild and dense on some of the back trails.
That's kind of a nice balance to then going up on the top of the hill, and you're like,
Yeah.
it is kind of like hiking, but then you get the view of the skyline.
Yeah. Oh, that is a grave. I feel like I've never noticed that one.
Oh, wow.
I've definitely walked over here. You were asking about events before, and I totally forgot about Rooftop Film Festival, which
Right.
I had mentioned, but that was one of my favorite things that happens here every year.
Are they still doing it now too?
No, they're not.
Oh.
They're not doing anything in person, but it's usually
Oh.
right up on this
Oh, cool.
path that they set up.
That sounds really fun.
Wow, that's really cool.
Who is this person? Oh, the Webbers.
It's a fun way to do it.
Yeah. I like how the names look like they're melting.
Yeah.
It's like surrealism. And then this nice angel.
And some kind of frond wrapped around it.
Yeah, I wonder what that is.
Yeah, I mean, that really is like a great valley situation behind us here.
Oh, wow.
It is amazing. I mean, there's something about all this sculpture and like knowing that there's all these people here. There's something, it like gets my mind going for what could we do here, or like what am I gonna do next, or I don't know. It like gets the inspiration part of the mind really cranking up.
Yeah.
For me.
I love how you can approach something and be like, is this art or a grave? And it's like,
Right.
it's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
Should we go up to the koi pond?
Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
We've seen some groundhogs here, which is exciting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of other animals, because this is sort of an area where animals feel safe, that you see in your neighborhood too?
Oh, maybe. Last summer I saw a gigantic praying mantis on our street.
Wow.
And I thought this probably wouldn't happen if we didn't live so close to these large green spaces.
Yeah.
This is one of the main stops that the migratory birds take.
In the cemetery?
Yeah, because there isn't that much green space in New York City.
Mm.
So this is one of the places that they stop for a while.
So so is it like many, many different species of birds, or are there any in particular that are stopping here?
I definitely don't know enough about birds, but the bird watchers seem to flock here.
Oh, yeah?
So there's definitely something interesting going on.
Wow. Oh my gosh. They're so big.
We've seen some herons and egrets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sometimes like stalking the fish over here.
Do you think they get them sometimes?
I don't know. Oh, look, those are what are those plants called?
Pitcher plants?
Pitcher plants, yeah. It's a carnivorous plant. Carnivorous plant?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They eat insects?
Yeah. They look like they're kind of drying up now.
Yeah, they're shaking. Now that you've said they're carnivorous, I'm like, are they alive? Are they hungry? Or it's probably just the wind. Wow, these fish are so beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know the significance of koi fish. Do any of you?
I don't know.
They're always sort of related to like tranquil spaces, but other than that, I don't know anything.
Yeah. A little while ago, I read about one of the security guards at the Met who, while the museum was closed, had the job of feeding the koi fish, because there's a koi pond in the Met Museum.
Oh, is it up in the Japanese area? Maybe there's
I think
like an
so.
outdoor. And so that's.
I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese. There's one little room that has like a recreation of some sort of little temple.
Oh,
I don't know which one it is.
That sounds like a nice job to have.
Yeah.
During this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not have to deal with any people for a little while and just feed the fish.
Yeah. I don't want to get in the way, but I kind of want to take that path.
Oh, the path with where the guy's cleaning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do it. These vines are amazing. Yeah. In the summer, is it covered in greenery here, or do they stay?
So gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at these. These are popping probably early.
Oh, wow. Yeah, are those cherry blossoms?
It looks like it.
Oh, yeah, autumn. Oh, it says autumn blooming.
Huh.
So they're actually late.
Interesting.
So when you are thinking about going for a walk in any given day, do you weigh the option of going to Prospect Park, or is it at this point pretty much always a cemetery walk?
We've been going to the park more often now, I think because in the spring and summer, Prospect Park was really crowded. And so it wasn't so enjoyable. And so the cemetery was the obvious choice because it was pretty much empty, although it got more crowded than we were used to.
Right.
So we've been going to the park more often recently, just because we haven't been there so much. Yeah, and the time of day is kind of switching things up, where we, because it gets dark late, we have to take our walk in the middle of the day, but because of work, we don't have as much time.
Right.
So we've been doing more kind of boring neighborhood walks.
Just on the streets?
Yeah, just to get our...
That's nice too, though.
Our outside time, yeah.
In like July and August, when wearing a mask was very hot,
Yeah.
this was one of the only places where it felt like you could be like 100 yards from anyone for like half an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So you could be maskless for a little while.
Yeah, you could come in and just like go to the middle and walk around without a mask and not see anyone.
Right. Yeah,
that
was a nice experience. I can't remember where we were walking in July and August, but I mean, some places it was like had to be masked for sure the whole time, but then occasionally, yeah, you'd get to like a very deserted area, and I wonder how long we'll remember those little sensations.
Yeah, it was such a relief to take my mask off when it was so hot and feel fresh air on my face.
Yeah, but feel still like safe and remote.
Yeah.
Well, we'll remember it now that we have this video.
Yeah, that's true. That's part of the point.
Maybe we should talk our secrets into the camera and then burn the footage.
And just burn the camera, like
Yeah.
Patrick was saying, just drop all our technology.
There's the beehives.
Oh, over there.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Up on the hill.
Where is it?
On the
Those
hill.
boxes up there?
Oh, yeah.
They kind of blend in.
Yeah.
They look like they could be
Me
gravestones.
too, yeah.
Have either of you ever done any beekeeping?
I have not, no.
Me neither. I'd be pretty scared.
I think me too, yeah. But maybe it's pretty liberating if you're like really suited up and you know that they can't get
They
you.
can't get you?
Yeah, I've never been stung, so I'm like
Oh.
especially afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's like.
Yeah. And I guess you don't know if you're allergic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I do know actually because I got like a master allergy test for everything under the sun
Okay.
because I was having a weird
Oh,
allergic
I got
reaction.
drone. I thought it was a bee. Sorry. So you did get tested.
Yeah,
you
so I think
know.
that would have shown up on the
Okay.
test. Unless they didn't test me for it because I would know that I got stung, but yeah, I think that feels like reason
that
to
seems
believe
like a
I'm
thing
not.
that they would test
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
Yeah. It turned out I was allergic to shrimp, cockroaches, and dust mites,
Oh my gosh.
which are all in the same family.
cockroaches and shrimp and
Yeah.
dust.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me reconsider eating shrimp.
I know. Fortunately, I don't have to consider it because I'm allergic to it.
Yeah. Can you eat other shellfish and just not shrimp?
I don't know. I grew up keeping kosher.
Oh, okay. So
I
you
never
wouldn't eat it
tried.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think by now I probably would have tried
Yeah.
had I not been tested.
But now you know you're allergic, so.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. We went to a wedding once in Cape Cod. And before going there, I was like preemptively jealous that everyone was going to be eating all this shellfish and I couldn't partake.
Yeah.
And then when we were at the wedding and everyone around me was eating it, I was so grossed out.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they look like bugs.
Yeah. It
And
looked
now
so
we know they
gross.
are related to
Yeah.
cockroach.
Yeah.
I grew up eating it a lot, so I'm like so over the fact that they look like bugs, but I can understand that completely.
I would love to be less squirmish about it, but
That's okay.
yeah.
It's funny how really this rivals any park experience,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
not something that I would say I didn't know. I definitely knew, but I think it's something that definitely growing up, you know, like we were talking about at the top, the stigma or just the connotations about what a graveyard is, or what a cemetery is. But
Yeah.
you could come here and have just as nice a time,
Yeah. Oh.
if not like more. You know, there's so many compelling statues, you know,
Yeah.
in the form of gravestones.
I was saying before how in the summer a lot of people were here with their kids, and I wonder if those kids are going to grow up like being into cemeteries.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
probably.
In
hope
the
so.
summer, these rocks usually have turtles on them.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and all of this, there's milkweed, so they attract the monarch butterflies and caterpillars.
Oh, that's so nice.
So if we had to, 5 minutes from here, where would be a spot you would want to take us to? So like one, either a famous grave or a statue that you could think of.
Are we
from
kind
here?
of close to the soda fountain, King?
Yeah,
Should we do that one?
sure.
Unless you have another idea?
No?
All right, let's
Okay.
lead the way.
It's right there.
Oh, that one lost her head.
Oh.
Yeah, I think my I can't really think of any times that I spent in cemeteries growing up. I know the only memory I really have is that I was on the track team and we would run to the cemetery and loop around it and back, and it was a 6-mile run, and I like hated running long distance.
It's a car coming.
So by the time I get to the cemetery, I'd be like, just leave me here.
So
But,
this,
yeah,
I
that's
believe
great.
this is on the map, but this person, I think invented the like soda fountain as we know it
Oh wow.
today. And I once watched a video about this, so I can maybe point out some details, but there's a view on the ceiling that I guess this person is supposed to be observing, but it's supposed to be like different areas of this person's interests. So I guess that one is like a love of nature. There's a bear over there, and I guess there's another bear over here.
Oh yeah. It looks like maybe an anchor,
Oh yeah.
unless it's yeah.
And the cemetery has some great videos on their Instagram where they like go into detail on a certain grave, and this is one of them.
So he invented like the soda fountain, as in like where you'd go to get like an ice cream or.
I think so, yeah, where they have like
soda?
multiple sodas coming out.
Yeah.
I think that's what that means.
I've always believed that fountain soda is way better than bottled soda.
I've never been a soda drinker. I don't like carbonated drinks. It's interesting how some of the details are like really still very clear because they're sheltered.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like on the inside there, the grapes and the.
Yeah, and that there's like a deer head up there. And actually when it rains, water comes out of these gargoyles' mouths.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Cool. How does it get in there?
I guess there must be some sort of gutter system from the top.
So it rains down from the top and then it shoots out through the gargoyles.
Yeah, like a tiny little stream.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What a good design.
Yeah.
I wonder, as someone who designed a soda fountain, I wonder how much of that like he was involved in.
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
And like if it had happened today, like would they have made some sort of like carbonated tube, like a soda stream, so that it shoots out carbonated rainwater?
Uh-huh.
All right, well, I think that's a good place to stop the recorded portion of our walking around.
Okay.
Thanks
do
so
a
much,
high
you two,
five?
for joining us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you remember the high five.
That's right. We gotta sync the audio by high-fiving. That was our plan. All right. I guess we'll do before we did the bridge. This
Yeah,
way.
this one we'll do this.
All right.
One,
1,
two,
2,
three.
3.
That's kind of.
Yeah,
That was
we're
a
on.
little
Okay.
off. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay, are we doing it on 3 or right after 3?
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, slap.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
3.
Oh,
All
my
right.
hand is all
My
tingly.
hand kind of hurts too. All right. Well, that was our visit to Greenwood Cemetery with JP and Patrick. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah, I had a great time. I hope you did too. Hope you stick around for some more content. If you like this, please hit the like, do the subscribing. We appreciate it. It's really great to be able to have people that are engaged and excited as much as we are about doing this.
Yeah, it makes it really fun for us. I mean, it's been fun from the beginning, and it's, even if no one was watching, I'm sure we'd be having a fun time. But, you know, being able to share this with our community that we already had, and also being able to create new community around this project has been really, really, really fun.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Absolutely. So until next time, take care for now.
Bye.
Bye.